So first of all, thanks for having me here. And let me introduce first before going for on this topic. And am I audible clearly? Hello. So
Yeah, you are audible.
yeah. Hi everyone. This is Sudhir Saxena, and I'm an AWS data engineer with over 15 years of experience building and modernizing enterprise data platform. I specialize in designing scalable data architecture and cloud native data pipeline, primarily on AWS. Before the AWS, I worked 2 3 years on GCP, Google Cloud Platform, and before that, I was working for one of the company where I worked for Snowflake. So I worked on this all this multi-cloud environment where I worked for AWS, GCP, and Snowflake, and this Azure, Microsoft Azure. So I worked on mostly transformed all these legacy system what we have, and we just transformed all this legacy system to cloud environment, and supported all this data validation, migration, everything I did. Apart from that, I have obtained so many AWS certification, including certified data engineer, solution architect, AWS machine learning. So today I'm going to talk about this topic, multi-cloud data governance with Microsoft Purview, centralized, federated, and hybrid models. So now, if you see in this real-time and enterprise level engaging adopt multi-cloud strategy, every company is adopting this multi-cloud strategy, governing data across different platforms becoming a major challenge. So in this topic, we are going to discuss about all these challenges and what are those this governance and this different this kind of model I can say. So those we'll discuss in this session. So most organizations don't struggle with collecting data. Mainly they struggle with where is the data, where this data coming from, who is using that, can we trust on them or not, or how to secure those data. So that's that kind of a question everyone before adopting those new technology, this new cloud, we always think before switching from this our on-prem system to cloud. So as company move toward multi-cloud environment, data gets distributed across platform teams and regions without right governance strategy, visibility, and control. It quickly disappeared. So here, like a multi-cloud adoption offers flexibility, resilience, but introduces significant complexity and maintaining regulatory compliance, ensuring security and operational agility. Okay,
Yes.
so I was talking about these challenges. So now, first I said now in this current market, every enterprise they are having different cloud systems. So few companies they are having AWS, few companies they are using this GCP, Google Clouds, few companies are using Microsoft Azure. So we have a multi-cloud governance challenges. So what are those challenges? I was just discussing about those challenges. So if you look at here like a key challenges, so like a policy inconsistency. So mainly like if you go for this different clouds, so every cloud company they are having their own model, they are having their own policy. Using those policy they control the data, they access the data, they provide who can see the data, who cannot see the data. So different policies are there. So for example, like if you go for AWS, so AWS uses IAM roles and policy. If you go for Azure, so Azure is using Azure AD. If you go for Google Cloud, using this cloud IAM. So that means they are having their own IAM model, they are having their own encryption mechanism, they are having their own storage services, they are having their own security policy. So different they have like a policy, so it's inconsistent. If you go for limited data visibility, so data often spread across like a object storage, data we store in databases, we store in analytical platform, backup, SaaS integration. So without centralizing monitoring, organization lose those visibility. They were not able to see data if they have like a multiple domain, or they have multiple like a centralized this fragmented data. So they are not able to see what data sitting in another storage or another database. So those kind of a problem were coming when they were going for this. So that's what limited data visibility. So they were not able to see those regulatory compliance complexity. So mainly if you go for this a general data protection regulation, GDPR or HIPAA, so these all compliances always comes into picture where using those multi-cloud they were not able to do. So each cloud provide offer compliance tooling, and compliance information must be unified across platforms. So those was missing here. Identity and access fragmentation, multiple identity system can create inconsistent access control. They were having different account system or least privilege access. So using those access they were not able to access other storage data, other data. So those were issuing here. Operational complexity, so like a different cloud, so they were having like a separate monitoring tool. If AWS is there, so they were having their own monitoring tool. They were having to mechanism to access their own data. But if you go for different tools or different clouds, they were having their own tool, different API, different automation framework. So using here like a different company, different cloud, they were having their own operational complexity. So that here we can see in this challenges. If you go for challenges, and then after why multi-cloud governance matters. So stakes are high. Enterprise level, as I was talking about, enterprise operating in financial services. So mainly, if you go for financial services financial services, banking or healthcare, so retail sector, so faces this regulatory requirement. Especially if you go for healthcare and finance, so their GDPR, HIPAA, PCI operational. So non-compliance can result into substantial fines. So when they will this multi-cloud governance matters, where this matters mainly, so like a financial and legal consequences. So if for example they are not maintaining, or they are not compliant, so they have to go for this some legal consequences. So on that time they need to pay some penalty, or they have to whatever consequences, so they have to follow that. Then after reputation damage, so once it will come in their data, like a loss of a customer. So basically what happens if this financial and legal consequences come, or when data uh, these breaches or inconsistent among all these different multi-cloud. So their policy will be different, enforcement will be different, data quality will not consistent, it will be inconsistent. That means poor data quality. So on that time what will happen, like a customer will lose their confidence. So they will not have that confidence. So that means a loss of customer confidence, negative media coverage, decline market valuation. So in market also they will not have that valuation due to this data issues. Long-term brand damage, so this all like issue comes when this multi-cloud governance and this uh, data label issue comes. Operational disruption, so operational disruption meaning here like a regulatory violation may lead to forced system shutdown, temporary suspension of data processing, mandatory infrastructure challenges. So what will happen if disruption can halt operations? So especially in sector they rely heavily on real-time digital these services. So there what will happen, they need to maintain those operational. Otherwise what will happen, due to this multi-cloud in this environment, so they will not have this proper smooth or this operation. Security and data breach risk, so security also due to this multi-cloud. So every, as I said, every cloud they are having their own security, they are having own policy. So due to that what will happen, it will this data breach and risk factor occurs. Then after inconsistent policy enforcement, so what happened, this Misconfiguration storage system, excessive user privilege. This weak, so they were not able to for example, inconsistent policy. Every company, so AWS this they are having their own policy. This Azure or any other cloud, they are having their own policy. That means policy, it will not fit one policy for every this cloud. So meaning inconsistent policy enforcement. Poor data quality. So poor data quality, what will happen here on this duplicate data set. So maybe what AWS is having, or other cloud they are having. So they are having their own data, they are having their own storage. But what will happen when, if they will try to across multi-cloud uses on that, it might be duplicate data set, inconsistent data definition. So one cloud will have their own data catalog or own data set, another will have their own data set. But when we are trying to use those different cloud data set in your job or in your system, so it might be duplicate data set or it might be inconsistent data definition, because we are not storing in multi, which we'll see ahead, how we are managing all different data set together, so that avoid this kind of all issues. So those challenges are there in poor lineage tracking. That means end to end we are not knowing where data is coming from, where data is going, so that end to end flow we don't have. So that audit and compliance challenges. So regulators and auditors require organization to demonstrate who access this sensitive data. So mostly in cloud, we have API data, we have sensitive data. So that data we can't give access to everyone. So who is having this access data, where data is stored, how it is protected, how long it is retained. So this kind of all using this audit and compliance we manage. But there is a challenge due to multi-cloud governance. So now what we'll see here next term, why multi-cloud governance matters. Multi-cloud environment significantly increase governance complexity. Without a strong governance framework, organization risk financial penalties. So as I said, this multi-cloud, so we are using in different even in healthcare, we are using in finance, we are using banking system. So different financial and systems are there. So if any issues come, so we need to go for penalty, legal issue may comes, operational disruption comes, and all this. So a strategy for effective multi-cloud data governance, implement unified data. So whatever issue and the challenges we have seen, so for those, what strategy we can take to implement or to overcome those issues. So a strategy for effective multi-cloud data governance. So for that, what we can do, this like a data classification standard. Data classification standard, that means which data belongs to sensitive, like a PIs. You might be seeing, like if PI data, we can make like a sensitive data. Which data doesn't belong to PI or sensitive, we can make like a public. So kind of different classification, public, private, sensitive. So that we can go, we can provide for that, implement, we can encryption requirement, retention policy. So we to maintain those, we can give some retention policy. Using those, we can implement unified data access control rules. So who can access the data, and who is authorized, so based on the provided access to them. So these policies should then be mapped to each cloud provider's native control. So centralized identity and access management. So centralized identity and access management means we need to have some centralized place. From there we can control all different domain, different data set, different. So for that we can we can have some mechanism or provider, or like Okta, or like a Microsoft Intra ID, formerly known like a Azure AD, all, or we can use like a single sign-on across cloud. So using one single sign-on, we can connect with a different cloud, and we can fetch the data. So you don't need to maintain like a multiple access, a multiple like a login. Centralized data role management we can do, easier audibility we can do. And deploy another we can do like a deploy this cross cloud security and governance tool. So each platform what we can do like provide unified security visibility. So where data is residing into different like a cloud system, and we need to fetch some data are available in AWS, some data is available into Azure, or some data is available into this GCP. But as enterprise level, we need to get those data, we need to use for our use cases. So that means cross cloud, we need to fetch those data. And so for that purpose we have a security and governance tool. So using those tools we can deploy, and we can cross cloud security we can maintain. So for that we have a different platform like a Prisma Cloud, which Datadog. Those tool monitor misconfiguration, any vulnerabilities, data exposure, compliance violation when you are doing this cross cloud. Using those security and governance tools, what we can do, we can monitor if some by any chance we are we are violating some compliances or vulnerabilities or misconfiguration, that we can do. Establish a central data catalog. Central data catalog, you can say in multi-cloud data governance, is a single unified inventory of all data asset across different cloud platform. So we have a different like a cloud platform and data system there. What we can do, so we need to have a single unified inventory. So using those inventory of data asset, we can you can say like a kind of like a repository, a centralized repository that store metadata about data assets across organizations, entire data ecosystem, regardless of where the data physically reside, no matter whether it's sitting into this you can say like a data object, data storage, or it's a database or on-prem. We have one centralized repository system. Using that centralized repository system, what we can so store the metadata about the data assets. Automate compliance monitoring. So automate compliance monitoring means we can use like a policy as a code to enforce governance automatically. Example like infrastructure scanning, automated remediation, continuous compliance check. You might be uh, technology, you can know like a Terraform. So using Terraform, what we can do, we can all this code we can migrate, and using only one policy as a code. So using one policy we give, and we can migrate all this code. Implement data classification and encryption standard. So implement data classification, basically like encryption standard. So when we have some PI data, when we have some sensitive data, so for that what mechanism we can what we can classification we can give. So automatic classification we can assign encryption. Even though data is in transit or at rest, we need to encrypt those data, so that PI data, even while in transit or at rest, we can't show to anyone. Even tokenization for higher like a highly sensitive field, we can use some tokenization method. So these control must apply consistently across all cloud environment. And so we have other. So as per this topic, we have mainly three different cloud multi-cloud governance model. So centralized model, we have a federated model, and we have a hybrid model. So we'll just have a look on this one by one. So in centralized model, so by name itself, like a centralized model where all this policy metadata across access, like a control access within a cloud platform. So everything will be controlled by, accessed by, managed by one centralized model, and maximum consistency and compliance. But potentially some, definitely when some advantage is there, so some limitations should be there. So what we can discuss here, so main key feature, if I can say, so one control plane for governance decision, central data governance team, standardized policies applied enterprise, this unified metadata and data this catalog management. if you talk about this advantage, so high consistency in this policy enforcement. That means only one centralized system that can access or that can control to all kind of data set, all kind of policy. Only one that easier here regulatory compliance. So everything will be compliant with this GDPR, HIPAA, PCI, and everything will be simplified auditing and reports. That means everything will be centralized, so only one kind of owner you can see, or one access control that will be controlled by uh, uh, all different like data sets, or you can say like a data catalog, data governance, everything. But there are limitation also. So now if a small organization is there, so it's fine. But if you have a huge organization or enterprise, so there are different domain is there, different business unit is there. So there what will happen, this a slower decision making and deployment. So if one has to do a deployment, so it has to go all this process, and then final this centralized model is there, so that will be it has to go all through. It's not like a separate, you have something has to deploy, so you go and deploy. It's not like that. So here slow decision making and deployment, potential like a bottleneck in governance approval, I can say. And this reduced flexibility for individual this business units. So it's not like every business unit, they don't have like a flexibility, or like they don't own those particular unit. Everything they have to like kind of process through centralized, or they have to get approval, or they have to go through all this process. So their flexibility is reduced. It's not like that much flexible. So but if you see like best use cases or best scenarios, so mostly we use in this banking or finance or healthcare. So for example, like JP Morgan, or this Bank of America, HSBC, these all like banking sector. So how this banking, insurance, healthcare implement centralized governance, centralized policy and compliance management. A central governance office defines enterprise-wide data policy. So that means everything will be on centralized level. This policy will be maintained, not like individual or like a domain level or business unit level. So now we'll see though we are seeing some limitation in this centralized model. So those limitation will somehow some point we can see it will be overcome here in federated. But definitely federated also, they are having their own advantage and own disadvantage or limitation. So if you go for this federated, so in federated basically what will happen, this governance responsibility are distributed across business unit or domains. So here like a resource, if you compare here with centralized, so centralized, one centralized like a control plane that manage all the policy. But if you come for this federated, so governance responsibilities are distributed, it's a fragmented across business unit or domains, allowing each domain to manage its own data, policies and operations. That means we are allowing to each domain or business unit, you go and manage your own data, own policies, own operation. So key characteristic here I can say like it's a local governance. Compare if you are centralized, so there it's a centralized governance or like a policy. But if you come for this federated, so it's a local governance teams with business unit, domain ownership of data asset. So here what will happen, if you have like a five different domains, so every domain will have their own access, own policy. So definitely it will be faster. Decentralized policy implement, there is not any centralized policy implemented, it's a decentralized. So every domain will have their own policy and ownership. Advantage, definitely it's a faster like innovation and data product this development, greater ownership and accountability at domain level. So now every domain, they will have their own like data set and policy. So ownership and accountability, everything they own that. it's improve responsiveness. If you compare with centralized, so there if for a small changes or deployment it takes longer time because it has to go through all the process to centralize. But if here if you go for any response needed, business need any deployment, it goes very fast. But here's some limitation also there. So limitation mainly if you see here, so risk of inconsistent policy. So if you have like a five different domain, so if one domain one, it will have their own data set, own policy. Domain two, they will have their own policy, so definitely policy will not match in sync. They will have their own policy or inconsistent policy across domain. If you compare, difficult to enforce enterprise wide standard. Now every domain is having their own policy or like a standard. So if you are trying to enforce and try to check on this enterprise level, so definitely it will be inconsistent and it's a difficult to enforce. Higher complexity in compliance and auditability. So here like audit, if you go for auditing or compliance and so if you compare with like a centralized, so they are having their own only one system that using those like a centralized this compliance and auditing, they can audit all this kind of domain or business unit. But here every domain they are having their own policy, own data set and own this standard. So it's very hard to compliance and audit together. So this, if you ask for a best use cases, for example, it's like a Netflix or Spotify or any this kind of streaming this private they have their own data governance model because it operates with many independent team. So within a Netflix or within this any streaming, so they have a different domain. But within this Netflix, they have different this like a domain and streaming quality, customer insight, content analysis. So inside different domain, and they take care of their own domain, own data, everything. So that you can see kind of it's individual owning and data they can manage and they can compliance auditing. But when we go all together, so these are the limitation for that, I can say. So now here if you compare with those now we have seen this centralized, we have seen this federated. So now we'll go for hybrid. So hybrid by name itself, it's kind of like a combination of centralized model and federated model. So hybrid model combines central oversight for critical policies with federated execution, balance compliance requirement with organizational agility and speed to value. So here a hybrid a combination, as I said, is centralized oversight and federated execution. Core governance policies are defined centrally, this implementation and so basically when you go for this hybrid, so few part is being taken care by centralized and few part is being taken care by this federated. So mainly this all this governance related core governance policies are defined centrally. It will be decided and it will be defined in one central place. But if you go for implementation and operational decision occur at domain level. So here key feature I can say here, like a central governance body defines critical policies. So they create a policy and it will adhere to all these domains. Every domain has to follow and compliance with those. So business unit execute governance locally and shared standard for security, metadata and compliance. Collaboration between central and domain, that also it's kind of a main thing where we have a few data, like as I said, like in different when we are using this multi-cloud, so different it will be there. So there is some limitation also, definitely it should be a strong coordination between central and domain this. So If I'll go for this now central governance strength and trade-off. So as we saw in this central governance, so there definitely, since everything will be control accessed by the central model, so their compliance rate definitely it will too high, like a 99.7, and metadata accuracy 98.9, making them ideal for a highly regulated industry. So their consistent policy enforcement definitely it will be consistent because everything will be taken care by one centralized uh, this system. A strong security posture and this strong security, so definitely everything will be taken care by one security. It's not like different domain will have their own security or like a compliance. A standardized data quality, so definitely this data quality will be controlled by centralized, so that will be strength when you go for this trade-off. So however, deployment cycles are longer. Reason of that, I said in previous slide, if a small domain they have some deployment or some changes, it has to go through all the process and it will go to this centralized. So it will be deployment cycle are longer, requiring an average of 18 to 24 days for new data set at asset if we want to add or some issue. So bottleneck can emerge into when central teams become overwhelmed with a request from multiple business unit. So if we have like a multiple business unit request or work, so it will take a longer time. Scalability challenges. So if you are centralized, so if you want to scale something and some modules, some domains, so it's little challenges to scale because everything's centralized. So it's not like of this federated, so just you have your individual domain or business unit and go you can scale it. So its entire system has to be scaled. So risk of centralized failure. So here it's a, since it's a single centralized system, if anything occurs or any failures on that time, what will happen, it will be entire your system will be crashed. It will be like a failure. So it's a big risk if you go for centralized in that situation. Reduce the business unit flexibility. So here business unit it will be reduced. It's not like each business unit have their own capacity or like a privilege to go and implement as per their flexibility. So that it's there. If you go for federated, so federated also definitely some strengths are there, some challenges are there. So if you go for rapid this product delivery, increased innovation. So here in if you go for federated, so it's every like a domain or business unit, they are having their own this like a policy ownership or security or their own compliance. So it will be definitely innovation will be increased, clear domain accountability. Every domain will have their own accountability. Scalability will be definitely like a large organization here, but challenges as we discussed, like it's inconsistent. Every domain will have their own policy. They're having their own system. So if we are trying to combine or to keep one consistent, so it will be hard to manage. Limited cross or like a domain visibility here. So every domain will have their own visibility. So if you want to see in this federated, so you are not able to see because you will not have access or you will not have every domain having their own policy and all. So fragmented compliance posture and complex this coordination overhead. Hybrid model. So hybrid model, we have discussed, its kind of combination. It's combination of this centralized and this federated. So here what will happen, this compliance rate, near centralized compliance with federated agility. Here this metadata accuracy. So everything will be strong data quality because it's a combination of this centralized. So centralized is take care of all this like access and this core governance, and this federated will have their like domain level all this metadata. Days to deploy, it will be a little faster than definitely it's not it will not take like this 18 to 24 days to deploy as per like centralized. It will take less, but it will be compared to if you go for the centralized, it will be faster. Hybrid, so hybrid governance deliver most balanced outcome, achieving 98. If you compare to this centralized, they're 99.9 something, but here it's a little less, but it's a hybrid. We are maintaining both centralized security system and this data this domain data both. So that we are doing here, this model allows central team to enforce critical policies, security, privacy here. Now, if we compare like a hybrid governance reference architecture, so here like centralized purview, policy enforcement, federated domains, and event driven. So if we compare like a summary here, like a control, so definitely Sentai will be like a high control over there. If you go for federated, so that will be like a medium control, and hybrid it will be balanced. Like both we are maintaining here, like core governance also we are maintaining, and here it's like a data domain level also we are maintaining flexibility. So here like definitely it's a centralized. For a small thing also we need to go through all this process for deployment. It will take 18 to 24 days all this process. So definitely flexibility is very low. If you compare to like this federated, it's a very high because each individual domain will have their own system and own deployment, own ownership. Everything will be separate. If you go for a hybrid, it will be medium and high. Scalability, so this is like a medium. Scalability, it's like entire system when you are trying to scale scalable, so entire system it has to be like a scale. Federated, individual domain and individual business unit, it's a very high compared to that. Hybrid also it's high. Compliance system very strong. So here definitely like everything has to be like managed, controlled by one system, centralized, very strong. But if you go for federated, it's like moderate. Hybrid is a combination of like centralized and this federated. So they kind of distributed their own like uh, part. A few like core this governance will be controlled by this centralized system and data. So it's a strong complexity core component of the architecture. So if you go for this architecture, so centralized meta hub and this federated. So centralized like Microsoft serves as a single source of truth for metadata, data lineage, everything. It will be central. So that one thing. So and classification across cloud platform. If you go for federated access control, so domain teams manage access. So every domain level they have their own managed system. They can access policies locally with centralized oversight and audit trail. Event driven integration, so real time policy enforcement using this event this stream, ensuring consistency without creating deployment bottlenecks. So event and automated compliance monitoring. So here this automated compliance monitoring will be there. So what will happen when you have this centralized system? So in centralized this compliance everything will be managed through this GDPR or this HIPAA, PCI, this so workflow remediation, everything will be managed there. If you go for this Microsoft Purview Foundation, so unified data governance, Microsoft Purview provides comprehensive data discovery classifications. As I said, it's a classification like a data will be classified whether it's a sensitive or it's like a public, or all this classification and lineage capabilities across a multi-cloud environment. It integrates natively with Azure, offering a robust connector for this AWS, Google Cloud, and on-premises system. So automated federated data discovery and classification into data lineage. So in that we'll get to know like where this data is coming from, where it goes. So all this workflow we can visualize using this unified data governance. So that forum with the help of this Purview. So Purview, what will help here, it will be like a unified data governance platform and provide comprehensive data discovery, classification, and lineage capability across multi-cloud. So even though you are using multi-cloud environment, it will integrate natively with this Azure and offering robust connector for AWS. So we can automate all this data discovery, classification, data catalog, and end-to-end data lineage, sensitive data identification and labeling. So whenever we'll see some sensitive data, so we will identify and we will label it. That policy, this policy enforcement and compliance report, so we'll make this policy. So if you compare this like a centralized, so centralized was having their own policy, federated was having their own policy. So here using this Microsoft Purview, so what will it will be unified. It's kind of centralized, it's not centralized, like it's unified data governance will create and policy enforced and compliance report. So one place it will be this created report. Integration with so now we have seen for this like a Purview. So now if you go for this defender, so mostly like a defender, it will be used for like a comprehensive it's a you can say in simple term like it's a Microsoft like a security platform. So this you can say like a Microsoft Defender is Microsoft security platform focused on protecting user devices, identities, apps or cloud workload from cyber threats. So so there are different products are there, like this defender for like a cloud, defender for identity. So here like using this defender for clouds, what we can say, it will detect and respond to like a malware and ransomware, phishing attack if when we are using the data. So if any like a sensitive data and if any like it will show some it will mainly it will scan the data, it will detect the data. So defender basically what it will do, it will work with this Purview. So it will integrate with that Purview, and then after it will this organization achieve a complete view of data governance and security posture. So defender continuously monitor for vulnerabilities, misconfiguration and threats. Purview ensures data is purely classified. So like it's kind of combination, it integrates Purview, what it does, it ensures data is properly classified, either it's like um, um, it's uh, uh, it's a PI data I can say, or it's a sensitive data I can say, and access control are enforced together. They enable proactive. So using both Purview and Defender, it will help like protect your organization from cyber attacks. So using together, what we can do, they can they can provide this classified, access controlled, and this it's a complete
Uh,
data.
Sudhir, Sudhir, I'm sorry to interrupt. We are running beyond the clock. I
Okay,
would appreciate.
I'm done almost. Just give me two
Yeah.
minutes.
All
Just two,
right.
3 seconds.
Thanks.
Thank you. So okay, so now we were like discuss for this so many like multi-cloud governance. So data silos here, so inconsistent. So data silos here basically like when fragmented data stored across multiple this cloud provider. So what it will do, it will create silos. That means it will be difficult for organization to like get those data, implement those data, because it's stored in different like a location, different like a platform, different system. So for that purpose it will be like those are the challenges. It's there inconsistent policies as we discussed, it's a lack of unified. So now this all organizational resistance. Implementation, if I'll ask, so implementation best practices, definitely first we need to define our career role responsibilities, for what use cases, what cloud you need, what multi-cloud data governance you need. So based on that, you can form a data governance council and you can utilize those. Deploy Purview infrastructure. So set up Microsoft Purview with multi-cloud connector, establish metadata taxonomy and automated scanning. Implement policy framework. So if you implement a policy framework, so what it will do, deploy like a centralized one policy. So once it will be centralized policies, it will be take care all this like a compliance age and teams and all this. Monitor and optimize. So established like a KPI, conduct regular reviews, adjust policies based on the use cases, and we can continue on that optimization based on this like a design and all. What will be take away for your organization. So choose, always choose the right model. Hybrid governance. So now we have seen like we mostly compare three kind of model. One like a centralized model, then federated model, then hybrid model. So based on the use cases, mostly it comes like a hybrid governance model, balance and regulatory. There you will get both. You will get like a centralized this data security and plus this data this domain also. So start with this metadata, automate enforcement, integrate security. So all these kind of like you need to combine Purview and Defender. So Purview will give you like this data like a secure data, and Defender will give you like a security system cyber attack. It will avoid from cyber attack for integrated security and governance. So those kind of we need to implement in our organization, and we can go for right model apart from all this model we have seen in current. So since it's a multi-cloud data governance, multi-cloud, every enterprise, if you go for, if I'll take an example like a Capital One, if I'll take an example like a Bank of America or multiple companies, so they, what they are doing based on their use cases, they are using multiple multi-cloud data governance, but they have to maintain what data will sit where based on that, and they can protect their data. Yeah, I think that's it. With this word, I will conclude this. Um, and if you have any question, you can ask here, or I can reply offline, and you can reach out to me on my LinkedIn account. So here, if you see, this is you can any question. I'm see here like I'm AWS certified solution architect and this machine learning all. So you can reach out to me on this like a LinkedIn, or yeah, on my email ID anywhere. I'll be happy to answer you. Thank you. Thanks for giving me opportunity to talk to you all of you.